Hi everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we're making this adorable bunny amigurumi in a carrot cocoon. This is so much fun to make. I have the supplies laid out here, but I will also have links to where you can get these supplies and all the supplies listed on my blog, YARNutopia.com, so you can go straight to my website, find the free written pattern for this project, along with a list of the materials and the frequently asked questions in the notes section on the blog. So you can get all the information for this project. This is really adorable though. We're making a cute little bunny today, and then we're making the cocoon so it can fit right inside of here. And this is perfect for any child, anybody who loves bunny rabbits, or anybody for the holidays. So make sure to get your Red Heart Super Saver yarn here in green, an orange, a white, and a black. Get some felt, some polyfill, some tacky glue. This is a G hook, and I will actually put a link to where you can get this specific hook because this is so fabulous. I got this at the Etsy shop Would Be Fancy, and it has a nice hand-carved wooden handle, so I'll get that linked in the description of this video and in my pattern so you can get the same hook as me. You're going to need some scissors and some yarn needles. So get all of those supplies and let's get started and make this cute little bunny amigurumi in a carrot cocoon. Let's start out with your main color and a slip knot. So put your short end over the long end, then fold this down and then pull that long end through and pull tight, and there's your slip knot. You can insert your hook at this point and we can start. So let's start out by chaining 2. So yarn over and pull through 1 and 2, and then in the second chain from the hook we are going to put 6 single crochets. So the loop on the hook doesn't count as anything, so count 1 and 2 right in there. We're going to go into that chain, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, that's a single crochet. So again, go back into that same chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. That's 2. There's 3, go back in, here's 4, 5, and 6. Awesome. Now for round 2, I'm going to put a stitch marker into my work, just an extra piece of yarn to mark my rounds where the beginning is. If you have a legit stitch marker, you can just place it right in this area here. Otherwise, just put a different piece of yarn in there to mark your rounds. And in this next round, we are going to increase. Also, I'm going to be working in the back loops only of my project. So we usually go through both loops like this, both loops, both loops, both loops. The loop that's furthest away from you is your back loop. So we're going to go into just the back loops for this project here. So in this next round, round 2, we are going to put 2 single crochets into each stitch around. So this first one here, put that stitch marker in there, then put 2 single crochets into this first stitch. So 1 and 2. Okay, hop to the next, go put 2 single crochets in there, 1 and 2, and each stitch around. So for round 2, we're going to have 12 single crochets in total. And I'm actually almost done here, so you can just continue watching. We can go on to round 3 together. 1 and 2. Here's my last stitch. 1 and 2. Awesome. Now, moving my stitch marker up, if you need to, you can count this round and make sure you do have 12 stitches. Move that stitch marker up there. And for round 3, we are not increasing. For round 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So rounds 3 through 7, we are going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch. Here, so just put 1 single crochet, just like that. No increasing here, so just 1, 1, 1, just like that all the way around. And I'm going to just put 1 single crochet into each stitch. This will start to make the leg of our little bunny here. So I'm just going to put 1 single crochet in the back loop only for rounds 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's 5 rounds total. So I'm gonna do that, and then once I finish round 7, I'll meet you up. We're going to fasten this first leg off. Here, I've just finished that round. I'm moving my stitch marker up so I know that's the beginning of my round, and we're going on to now round 4. So I'm going to do that, and when I finish round 7, I'll meet you up and we'll go on to the next step. Once you finish round 7, I'm going to remove my stitch marker. This is what your piece should look like. We're going to fasten our first one off here. So just go into this next stitch. I'm going under both loops here, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through to slip stitch. And then to fasten off, I usually chain 1. We're going to cut our yarn a little bit longer because we're going to use that for sewing. So then I'm going to pull that all the way through and then pull that tight. Okay, so this is what our first little leg looks like. I'm going to set this aside. I want you to rewind this and make another one of these legs, except do not fasten off. So I'm going to repeat rounds 1 through 7. And then when I am on round 7, I'll meet you up on my second leg, and we'll go on to attaching the legs next. But do not fasten off your second leg, and I'll meet you up at that point. So just start making a slip knot, and then repeat rounds 1 through 7 from your first leg. And then, again, do not fasten off. I'll meet you up when we start attaching the legs. Alright, so I just finished round 7 of the second leg here, so grab your first leg. Okay, so this is how they are. Now what we're going to do is attach the two, and remember, since I worked in the back loops, we're going to continue working in the back loops now, so you don't have to slip stitch in the next stitch or anything. We're just going to continue working now attaching these pieces, and how we're going to do that is we're going to go into each stitch on this piece, and then we're going to go into each stitch on this piece. So keep your loop on your hook here. Okay, we're going to go into one of the stitches on this first leg, and we're going to go into one near the seam, or near the where we fastened off. So I'm going to go right into that stitch in the back loop, okay, where we slip stitched there to fasten off. We're going to go into the back loop of that one. Okay, then we're going to take our yarn here, there we go, yarn over, and then pull that through, and then pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops there, just like that. So now we've single crocheted into this first leg. So we're going to single crochet into each stitch around for 12 stitches on this leg. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, then we're going to leave this in the middle here, this little straggler here. We're going to leave that up over there, and then we're going to go into the next free stitch on this leg over here. So hop over to this leg. You can see that we've worked a stitch in there, so we are going to go into this next stitch right here, and we're going to work in 12 stitches on this leg now. So yarn over, pull through. Remember, back loops only here. Yarn over, pull through 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, last one here is 12. Okay, so that was counted as round 8, that whole round, attaching the 2 pieces now. So these are what your legs are looking like. Now if you turn this upside down here, you can see that there's a hole right here, basically like the crotch of where it would be between the legs here. So we have this piece that we cut earlier from our first leg. And what we're going to do is grab our yarn needle and yarn our needle with that straggler that we just that we cut from leg number 1, and we're going to go into the center here, okay, and we're going to close that. So we're going to go in through one loop on one side, through to the other side, and we're just going to whip stitch this closed. Okay, and it's just going to take like 2 or 3 stitches to do that. See, that's closed now. Now we just want to tie it off, so we're going to just go underneath a loop or a stitch there. Keep our finger in the loop. Okay, and then come back around through that loop. Okay, and pull tight. Okay, and then we can just shove this inside a leg to hide it, because nobody's going to see that. Awesome. So now we can go on to round 9. I am going to put my stitch marker in at this point, so I'm going to just put it in there. Okay, and round 9 says to just single crochet around, actually for rounds 9, 10, and 11. So for the next 3 rounds here, we are going to just single crochet all the way around in each stitch. That's 24 single crochets in total for each round. So round 9 is going to have 24 stitches, round 10, and round 11. Just working in a continuous round in the back loop only, just single crocheting just like this. So I'm just going to do that for rounds 9, 10, and 11, the next 3 rounds. And then I'm just going to meet you up. We'll go on to round 12 and we'll increase at that point. Alright, so I just finished rounds 9, 10, and 11 here. So now we can go on to round 12 by increasing. So you can see though, it's looking like a little body. There's the bottom half of the body. So now we're going to make a little plump stomach here. So let's move that stitch marker up and go on to round 12. It says to put 2 single crochets in this next stitch right here. So go 2 single crochets in this next stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, next one gets 1, and the next one gets 1. And then just repeat that sequence all the way around. So put 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Okay, so at the end of round 12, you will have 30 single crochets. So I'll just meet you up then for round 13. Alright, so I have my 30 single crochets. So rounds 13, 14, 15, and 16. So the next 4 rounds are just 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Very similar to rounds 9 through 11. So, but we're doing 4 rounds in total here. Rounds 13, 14, 15, and 16. So you can see I moved my stitch marker up. We're just putting 1 single crochet into each stitch around. That's 30 single crochets in total for each round. So I'm just going to do that for rounds 13 through 16, and then I'll just meet you up when we go on to round 17. Alright, I just finished rounds 13, 14, 15, and 16 off camera, so this is what it should look like now. So we are going to start decreasing at this point to go up to the next. So round 17, I'm moving my stitch marker up first here. Okay, so round 17 says to single crochet 2 together. So go into this first stitch here, and then yarn over and pull through, and then go directly into the next stitch right here, and then yarn over and pull through. Remember, back loops only. Yarn over and then pull through all 3 of those loops on your hook. Okay, that's a single crochet 2 together, or a single crochet decrease stitch. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to repeat what we did. So single crochet 2 together. So go into this next stitch, yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and then single crochet in the next 3 stitches, just 1 single crochet, 1, 2, and 3. And then just repeat that around. So at the end of round 17, you'll have 24 single crochets, just repeating this sequence. So then I'll just meet you up for round 18. Alright, I have 24 stitches around, so I'm going to move my stitch marker up and we are going to decrease again. For round 18, we are going to single crochet 2 together, And then we're going to single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches this time. So 1 and 1. Okay, and then we're going to repeat that sequence all the way around. So single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so then at the end of round 18, you'll have 18 single crochets. So round 18 is 18 single crochets. That's probably easy to remember. So just do that sequence all the way around, and then I'll meet you up after this round. We're going to start stuffing, and then we'll go on to round 19. Alright, my last stitch here for round 18. So I have 18 single crochets around, but this hole is getting a little bit small now, so I'm going to pull this loop up. Okay, I'm going to start stuffing this. If you want to, you can remove your stitch marker for now, and then we'll reapply it when we go on to round 19. So grab some stuffing, just a small amount at first, and just kind of shove it all in there. Make sure you get all the way down to the legs. Okay, and you don't want to overstuff, so just make sure that it is proportioned throughout this whole piece. But we're going up to the neck part, and it's just going to be a little bit tougher to stuff this piece. So that's why I'm stuffing it, part of it now. Okay, and you can see I'm kind of just distributing it with my fingers throughout this little piece here. Shaping it. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be so cute. Okay. That seems about stuffed. Maybe I want to add just a little bit more. A little plump belly bunny. That's cute. Alright, so yeah, stuff it to your liking, and then we can go on to round 19. So I'm going to insert my hook back into this loop. Okay, I'm going to insert my stitch marker as well. And then I'm going to go on to round 19 by decreasing again. We are going to single crochet 2 together. So go into the next stitch. It's going to be a little bit stretched out now that we have the stuffing inside, so bear with me here. We're going to yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 stitches, or 3 loops, sorry. There's our single crochet 2 together, and then we're just going to put 1 single crochet into the next stitch. And then we're just going to repeat that around. So single crochet 2 together. Okay, and then single crochet into the next stitch. So at the end of round 19, we're going to have 12 single crochets in total. And you can just watch me do this whole round because I'm almost done here. Single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet into the next stitch. Single crochet 2 together, and single crochet in the next stitch. Alright, last decrease here, single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet in the last stitch. Okay, so now this hole is pretty closed pretty tightly there. Okay, so that was the body part of this project. So now we're going to go on to making the head portion, and we are going to increase now. So you can move your stitch marker up here. And now our increases, we're going to increase this the next 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. So this next round is a repeat actually. Let's see here. We are going to single crochet 2 together, or I'm sorry, no, we're not doing that. We're increasing. So single crochet 2 in the next stitch, sorry. 1 and 2. So put 2 single crochets in this stitch. No decreasing, we're increasing. Then we're going to put 1 single crochet in each, or in this next stitch here. Okay, we want to get to 18 stitches. So 2 in this, 1, 2, and then 1. Okay, so then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next stitch. There we go. That's our repeat. So 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next. then 2 in the next, and then 1 in the next. So we're doing that all the way around here. I just have 2 more increases to go. 2 single crochets in the next, and 1 single crochet in the next. Okay, so that was round 20. Okay, and we're going up to making the head now. Okay, so going on to round 21 right away, I'm going to move my stitch marker up here. And round 21 is an increase. We are going to have 24 stitches at the end of round 21. We are going to put 2 single crochets in this first stitch. Back loops only, remember, 1 and 2. And then 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches this time. So 1 and 1. Okay, and then repeat. So 2 single crochets in this next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so I'm just going to do that for round 21. We're going to get 24 stitches at the end of this round by increasing, so just repeat that sequence and then I'll meet you up for round 22. Alright, so I have 24 stitches around, that was round 21. So moving my stitch marker up, we're going to go on to round 22 and increase again. And this is very similar to round 12. We're going to put 2 single crochets in this next stitch. Okay, back loop there, 1 and 2. And then we're going to put 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And then repeat that around for a total of 30 single crochets. So 2 single crochets in this stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then repeat. So again, 30 stitches at the end of round 22. I'll meet you up. We'll go on to round 23. Alright, I have 30 single crochets for round 22, so going up to round 23, moving my stitch marker up, we are going to increase again. We are going to put 2 single crochets in the next stitch, so 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches this time. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to repeat that sequence for increase. So we're going to put 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So at the end of round 23, you will have 36 single crochets. And that's our last increase. So I'll meet you up then for round 24. Alright, so I have my 36 single crochets now for round 23, going on to rounds 24 through 26. So the next 3 rounds, we are just putting 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around for 36 single crochets for each round. So that's rounds 24, 25, and 26. And then once I finish round 26, I'll meet you up. We'll go on to decreasing for round 27. Okay, just finished round 24, 25, and 26 here. So now I'm going to move that stitch marker up and we are going to decrease for round 27. So we are going to single crochet 2 together. So go into this next stitch, yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And then single crochet into the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then repeat that sequence all the way around. So single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet into the next 4 stitches. So at the end of round 27, you'll have 30 single crochets in total. So I'm just gonna do that, and then I'll meet you up for round 28. Alright, I have 30 single crochets now. Going on to round 28, we are going to decrease again. So let's single crochet 2 together, and then put 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches this round. So 1, 2, and 3, and then repeat that. So single crochet 2 together, and then 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. So at the end of round 28, you'll have 24 single crochets all the way around. So I'll meet you up, we'll go on to round 29 together. Alright, for round 29, we are going to decrease again. I'm moving my stitch marker up, and we are going to single crochet 2 together. And then we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches this round. So 1 and 2. And then just repeat that all the way around. So at the end of this round, this is round 29, we are going to have 18 single crochets at the end of this round. So just single crochet 2 together, and then put 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So I'll meet you up for the next round. Alright, so we have 18 single crochets now. I'm going to actually pull my loop up and remove my hook because this top hole is getting quite small, but there are a few things we have to do because we are going to be closing this, and then it'll be quite difficult to do the rest of this. So I'm going to pause the crocheting for a minute. This is the front of our, so I just turn this around like this, so this is what the body is going to be looking like so far. So what we actually want to do before we stuff this is embroider the face. Some people like to embroider the face when everything is stuffed and everything's done, but it's quite difficult when you're getting in the inside to try to get the eyes done and everything. So I'm going to show you how to embroider the face. It's very simple actually. We're going to put some eyes on, so grab your black yarn and your yarn needle, and I'm going to, you can put safety eyes if you want to, attach safety eyes, or you can cut a long strand of this yarn just like this. Mine's about 12 inches and I just doubled it up, okay, and we're going to use that doubled up and we're going to make the eyes, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm yarning my needle with the black yarn that I have doubled up. Is just one long strand. Okay, and if I can get it through here, we'll have, there we go. Okay, so I have 2 strands on here at the same time. Okay, well, I guess I could cut this and then it'll definitely be 2 strands. There we go. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. So now we're going to go in the inside of this head here. Okay, you want to kind of flatten this out and see where you want your eyes to be. I want mine to be like right here and right here, okay, like really spread out, and kind of on our last, let's see, what row was that? Round 26. Okay, so if you can see where round 26 is, and kind of off to the side here, I'm going to go from the inside, and I'm going to go through these stitches here. This is round 26. Think so, or around 25. Between around 25 and 26, pull this through, okay, and I'm going to make a French knot. So what I'm going to do is hold this up. We're going to go from behind this piece, so I have this holding up right here, go behind, wrap around, okay, and I'm going to go like this, and then we're going to go down into the very next stitch on this piece to the left. So right in there. Okay, I'm going to pull through, and then we're going to pull both strands, both sides here, and pull that knot tight. And that creates a nice little French knot for the eyeball. How nice. Okay, then on the inside, I'm going to flip this to the inside here. We are going to cut this yarn short, take both sides and tie those in a regular knot on the inside of this head. And then just shove that on the inside there. You can cut it even shorter, I guess. Okay, and there's one eye. So now we want to go to the other side here and make another eye. So I'm going to do that. And let's see here, we have 1 long strand. I guess I can show you again. It's not that bad. Here. Let me just get my yarn needle. Okay, yarn the needle. Okay, then go in to the same row here on the other side, going from the inside. Okay, so about right here. Pull that through, hold this up, go from behind, around, through, and then go through the next stitch on the left, right there. And then pull. Pull everything. And there's a cute little French knot. Okay, so those are the eyes. Okay, so I'm just going to tie this in a knot then. And we can leave these strands loose. You don't have to sew any ends in because this is going to be on the inside of your bunny, so it's not going to be seen at all. Okay, so there's that. Awesome! Now we want to make the nose and mouth right around here. So what I'm going to do is take a long strand of this black yarn, and you can see here if you separate these strands, there's 4 strands in total. If you can see them twisted, if you want to untwist these. Okay, so you can see there's 4 strands. I'm going to take 2 in one hand and 2 in the other hand, and I'm just going to pull, okay, and untwist this whole piece because I just want it thinner. If you want to use regular black yarn or black thread, excuse me, you can use black thread and that should be totally fine as well. But I'm just going to use 2 strands here. I just discarded the other 2 strands, okay, and then I'm going to grab my yarn needle and yarn my needle with the 2 strand piece, okay, just like that. And now we're going to go in from the inside. We're going to kind of eyeball this. I want to have my nose here and the mouth coming down here. So we want to start from the inside and kind of start 1 row below where the eyes are. So probably around round 24. Okay, and I'm just going to come through just like that, and then we're going to go in here and across here. Okay, and then the nose comes up about here. Okay, but there's like a little space here, so we want to come back through and we want to go into where the thread is here from the inside. We want to go in between the 2 pieces, so go right through it. It's going to be a little game. There we go, right through it. Okay, and then just pull. Okay, and then go over to the other side, right through the black. And then go in. Okay, so there's a cute little nose. Now we just want to make a little mouth that's going to smile like this. So we're going to go through the center here. Let me go on this side. There we go, through the center. Pull that, come down, go to one side. Okay, and if you want to, you can go up and then come back through. Kind of make it a little smiley. Make sure you're going through the black yarn though. You don't want to see any white stitching between this. Okay, I'm coming back to the center here and then going to do the other side. Alright, then I'm going to go back to the center there and pull. Okay, so there's your cute little face. How funny. So you can just, you know, kind of play around with this, make sure no white is showing through. I see a little bit of white over here, but you can fix that. Okay, so then when you have your face all attached and happy with it, if you're happy with it, we're going to tie these 2 strands in a knot on the inside of the head. Okay, then we can go on to round 30 for closing this. Let's stuff this. Oh my gosh, that is so cute. Okay, let's stuff this with some more stuffing. Make that head nice and plump there. Cute. Oh my gosh, this is going to be adorable. Okay, and then you want to make sure, because you can see right here, there you can see some black thread or black yarn through my stitches. So just make sure you don't stuff too much, and if you see some black through that, you can actually move it on the inside to get it out of the way. If you used safety eyes, you won't have that issue. I'm just going to move that out of the way. There we go. Maybe put some stuffing in front of it so that you can't see it. There we go, and that's fixed. So now, round 30, I'm putting my hook back into that loop, moving my stitch marker up. Round 30 is another decrease. We are going to single crochet 2 together. So go into this next stitch, yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, and then yarn over and pull that through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and then just put a regular single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, and then just repeat that all the way around. So single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, so it's very similar to when we were decreasing around the neck area. We are now decreasing on the top of the head, but it's the same concept. So single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet in the next stitch. You'll have 12 single crochets at the end of this round, and then we'll go on to the last round together. Alright, so this is what the top of your head should look like now. We have 12 stitches. We're going to move our stitch marker up and go on to our last round. Round 31 says to single crochet 2 together 6 times. So make sure you're counting 6 single crochets 2 together. So here's 1, single crochet 2 together. There's 2, single crochet 2 together. There's 3. This is really tight at the top here. Single crochet 2 together. There's 4. And then 5. Oopsie. Sorry. It's not easy trying to maneuver this thing. Here's 5. There we go. And our last one here. Last 2 stitches, single crochet 2 together. So there should be 6 stitches in total. Now to fasten this off, if you need to, add just a tad bit more of stuffing to the top of this head here. Because once it's closed, and when we fasten off and everything. So I just shoved a little bit more in there. So now what we're going to do to close this top completely, I'm going to go into the very next stitch right here, and then straight across the way, we're going to skip 2 stitches and go across into this stitch right here. Okay, so the first and 4th stitches, we're going to yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, then chain 1, and then we're going to cut our yarn, pull it all the way through, pull it tight, remove our stitch marker completely, take our crochet hook in the back of the head underneath these stitches here, grab that little straggler and pull it into the head, into the piece, and pull down, stretch it out, and that's hidden. Awesome. So there we have part of our bunny done. Now we have to make arms and ears, and this thing will be so cute. So let's go on to making the ears next. Alright, so I'm going to set this piece aside. I have my same color white yarn, and I'm going to start out by making a slip knot. Okay, so I showed you that earlier, and then we're going to start out by chaining 2, so yarn over and pull through 1 and 2, and in that second chain from the hook we are going to put 6 single crochets. So go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, again, this is 2, here's 3, here's 4, 5, and 6. Okay, I'm going to grab that stitch marker and insert that into this piece just so that I am marking my stitches, marking my rounds. And again, we're going to work in those back loops only. For round 2 of the ear, we are going to put 2 single crochet in each stitch around, so basically repeating round 2 of the bunny body here. So 1 and 2, 2. So at the end of round 2, we're going to have 12 single crochets, 1 and 2. Okay, 2 single crochets in each stitch. I'm just going a little faster only because we did this in round 2 of the bunny. We're making those legs, so this is the same. Okay, last stitch here. Now going right on to round 3, it is another increase here. We're going to increase to 18 stitches by putting 2 single crochets in the next stitch. Let me move my stitch marker up first here. Alright, 2 single crochets in this first stitch here, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch. Then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next stitch. So just repeat that all the way around for 18 single crochets, and then I'll meet you up for round 4. For rounds 4 and 5, we are just putting 1 single crochet in each stitch around for a total of 18 single crochets for each round. So rounds 4 and 5, just putting 1 single crochet in there. So I'm just going to do rounds 4 and 5 off camera. I'll meet you up when we start decreasing for round 6. Alright, so I just did rounds 4 and 5 off camera here, just 18 single crochets in total. We're going to go on to round 6. I am going to decrease, but we are going to just do 1 decrease. So single crochet these first 2 stitches together. So go in, yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And then we're just going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch around the rest of the stitches here. So round 6 is going to have 17 single crochets in total because we just made that 1 decrease. Okay, and then I'll meet you up and we'll go on to round 7. Alright, round 7, we are going to do the same thing. Actually, rounds 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 are the same thing, decreasing down to 12 stitches. So I'm just going to show you this one, and then I'm going to do the rest off camera. We're decreasing the first stitch. So single crochet 2 together, and then put 1 single crochet in the rest of the stitches around. Okay, and that's the same exact concept for rounds 8, 9, 10, and 11 as well. We're going down to 12 stitches total. If you need to, you can follow along with the written pattern or rewind this to see the exact way to do this, but I'm just going to decrease 1 stitch each round. The very first 2 stitches are going to be put together into 1 for each round until I get to 12 stitches, and that will be round 11. And then I'm just going to do the same thing for each round until I get to round 11. Once I finish round 11, I'll meet you up for round 12. Alright, so I just finished round 11 here, so you can see round 17, 18, there's my decreases. Let's see here, actually not round 17, this is 17 stitches, so this is round, 6 is right here, round 6, round 7, round 8, round 9, round 10, and round 11. You can see my decreases right each stitch there, okay? So now going on to round 12, we're going to single crochet 2 together 6 times. So remember that last round on the bunny head, we're just single crocheting 2 together 6 times. So there's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4, 5, and last one here is 6. Okay, then we need to fasten off. So in order to fasten off, like I showed you earlier, we're going to go into the next stitch here, yarn over, pull through, and through, and then we're going to chain 1, cut our yarn kind of long for sewing, pull that all the way through, and then pull it tight, remove the stitch marker, and there you have a cute little bunny ear. So now what I need you to do is make one exactly like this, so you have 2 ears, and once you have both of those ears, we can sew them onto our bunny. Alright, once you have your both ears finished, we are going to sew them onto our piece. So let's yarn our needle with the straggler that we cut. Okay, and then position this where you want it on the head. Okay, so about right here. And then we're just going to go in through a couple of stitches and then in through our piece. Just like that. And kind of just whip stitch this on here. Okay, so going in through this piece and then out some stitches on this piece. Make sure you're going through both layers there. Okay, and then last one here. Okay. And then you can just like reinforce it a couple of times on each end if you want to go back and forth. That looks pretty good. Cute. Oh, sorry, all my yarn is back there. Cute! So now I'm just going to fasten this off. So going through those stitches, okay, I'm going to hold up this loop here. Okay, and then I'm going to come back around through that loop. Okay, and then pull tight, just like that. Okay, and then to hide this, we're going to go into, let's go in the ear here. Go to the inside of the ear and through a stitch at the very top. Stretch everything out. Okay, and then cut any extra. And there's one ear. Cute. Alright, so our second ear, we are going to do the same exact thing. I'll do this one off camera, but we're just going to yarn our needle and then position it at a nice spot right about there. Well, looks good to me. So then I'm going to do that, and then I will meet you up when both of my ears are sewn on, and we will go on to making the arms. Alright, so I just sewed on the other ear here, so we have both ears on, but now we just need to add arms to this little bunny rabbit. So let's do that. Grab some white yarn, I'm setting that aside, and I'm grabbing some white yarn. We're going to make a slip knot, so put your short end over that long end, then fold that down and pull it through and pull tight, and then insert your hook, and we can make the arm. It's very simple actually. We're going to chain 2, so yarn over, pull through 1 and 2, and then in that second chain from the hook we're going to put 6 single crochets. So very similar to the leg or the ear, you know, we just put 6 single crochets in that second chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, whoopsie, 5, and 6. And again, at this point I'm going to be putting in my stitch marker, that extra piece of yarn, just to mark my rounds. And for rounds 2 through 6, we're just putting 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And I'm going to work in the back loops only. So go into this very next stitch here and just make a single crochet, and we're just putting 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So that's going to be 6 stitches in total for each round, and I'm going to do 5 rounds. So after round 6, okay, I'm on round 2 right now, so 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I am going to just put 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Once I finish round 6, I'll show you how to fasten off, and we'll go on to the next step. Alright, I just did rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 off camera here. So now I'm going to fasten off. We're going to go into the next stitch here under both loops, okay, because I worked in the back loops for each of these. And then yarn over, pull through, and then fasten off by chaining up 1. We're going to cut our yarn a little bit longer to use that for sewing, and then continue to pull that all the way through and pull it tight, removing the stitch marker. And now what you need to do is make 1 more of these little arms here, and if you wanted to, you could make these longer if you want your arms on your bunny to be longer. That's creator's choice. But once you make your second one, we're going to stuff these. So grab just a tiny bit of polyfill, and we're going to stuff the arms here. And you don't need a whole lot of polyfill for this. It's really a small piece. So if you wanted to, you could just flatten these arms and not stuff them at all, because it is a little bit difficult, as you can see. There we go. Alright, so once you have your arms stuffed, here I have another one done off camera here, and I already stuffed it. So these are what your arms should look like. So now grab your bunny, once you have both arms made, and we can sew these on. So grab your yarn needle and yarn your needle with that long straggler. Kind of position your arm to where you want it to be. If you want it to have low arms, high arms, up here arms, I think I want them more up higher. So I'm gonna just position this like here. Okay, hold it with one hand. This is where coordination comes into play. And we're going to just go under the front loops that are free on this piece, and then through a stitch on this piece. Okay, and we're just going to go around, just sewing these pieces together. Okay, so kind of similar to how we sewed on the ears a little bit, but this one's more going around in a circular form instead of doing it flat. Okay, so just go under a stitch and then through the stitch on the arm. Alright, and then to fasten this off, let me just do one more stitch here. To fasten this off, I'm going to keep my finger in the loop here and then come back through that loop and then remove my finger and pull tight. Okay, and that should secure it. You can do it once or twice, and then I'm putting my needle through the whole arm and pulling that through and then cutting any extra and then stretching it out so that it's all hidden inside. Okay, so there's the arm. Awesome. So now I'm just going to sew on the other arm, and then I'll meet you up for the next step. Alright, so I just sewed on this other arm here, so we have everything on our piece. Now we just want to add a few more embellishments before we make the cocoon to put this in. So what I have is some pink felt here. I'm going to cut the felt and then put it, glue it on into the ears here. So grab your felt and your tacky glue, and what we're going to do here is I have it's Craft Felt Rainbow Classic here, and I'll put the supplies in the pattern. But what I'm going to do is fold this in half. Okay, and then we're going to just cut a small shape that will fit into the ear here. So I'm going to just kind of freehand it, and we're going to start at the edge here, and kind of just like a half, like a bunny ear, except smaller than our actual bunny ears. And you can make it bigger and then cut it down to your liking. Okay, so kind of a shape like that. That's why I folded it in half, so we have two of them. And if you want to, you can set it in your ear, see if that's how you want it. And I think I want to just cut it just a little bit more. So I'm just going to cut okay, and make sure they are both even. Okay, and then again put that inside there. Looks good now. So I'm going to take both of them and put each one in each ear. And let me grab the tacky glue real quick. Okay, so this is the tacky glue I'm going to be using. And we're just going to put a little bit on our ear and then set it down on the ear there. Okay, and then let that dry, and this other one. You don't need a whole lot of glue. Okay, so there's that. Then you can let those dry, so that's what those look like. Awesome! It's already coming together. I also have a little ribbon here. If you want to tie a ribbon around the neck, you can, or just you know, have a ribbon and then I put like a little kind of like one of those little twisty ties inside of there, and then I'm just going to kind of just shove this inside the right in the jugular there, right in the neck. And I'm just going to go in, kind of just poke it in there, and then flatten that out through the back. Okay, that way it won't poke anybody and it'll be safe. See how it's poking out there? You want to make sure that you fold it inside so that it's not poking anybody. There we go. Or you could just tie a cute little ribbon around its neck and have it that way. That way it'd be probably safer for a baby to have. So there we go. Cute! Awesome. Then we want to add a cute little blushy cheeks. So I grabbed some makeup here. I just have cute little pink blush. I got this in my Ipsy. And I have just a little tiny makeup brush here. Okay, I'm just going to get a little bit of makeup on here, not a whole lot. And we're just going to dab some on the cheeks, almost like painting. Okay, and you could just use some blush or some pink eyeshadow or something, and just make cute little circles for the cheeks, just to color the white yarn. And this is optional, but you don't have to put a whole lot. And then once you powder it up and get it to your liking, you can kind of just blow on it and the powder will disappear. But when you do wash, if you do wash these in the washer, you may have to reapply the blush. It might come off in the wash. There it is. How cute! Oh my goodness. So there. Awesome. So now your bunny is done. Looking really cute there. So bunny's finished. So now we are going to go on to making the cocoon that we want to put this bunny in. So continue watching, grab some green yarn and some orange yarn, and actually grab your orange first. Orange yarn first, and then we will start making the cocoon. Alright, I have my orange yarn. It's actually called Carrot. Red Heart Super Savers yarn is called Carrot. And we are making a carrot cocoon. So put your short end over that long end, fold this down, and then pull that through and pull tight. Insert your hook. And now for the carrot part, we are going to chain 2. So yarn over, pull through, 1 and 2. And in the second chain from the hook, we are going to put 6 single crochets. Okay, again, very similar to the bunny with the legs, or with the arms there. 6 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. 1, 2, here's 3, 4, whoopsie, 5, and 6. And we are going to work in continuous rounds, so I am going to grab that extra piece of yarn and stick that in there for my stitch marker, just to mark my rounds. And now going on to round 2, we are going to single crochet into each stitch around. So go into this first stitch. Again, I'm going to work in the back loops only as well. So just put 1 single crochet into each stitch around for round 2. So that's 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Here's 4, 5, and 6. Okay, that's going to make our point of our carrot. Okay, so now going on to round 3, moving that stitch marker up a row, we are going to put 2 single crochets into each stitch around. So go into this first one here, back loop only, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, go back into the same stitch and make another single crochet. So we put 2 single crochets into each stitch around for a total of 12 single crochets on round 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 and 2, and I think this is my last one here. If you need to, count back around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, geez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Yes, I have 12 stitches around, moving that stitch marker up. Going on to round 4, we are going to single crochet around. Actually, for rounds 4 and 5, just put 1 single crochet in each stitch around for rounds 4 and round 5. So I'm going to do both of those rounds off camera, and then I'll meet you up for round 6. Alright, I just did rounds 4 and 5 off cam here, so we have 12 single crochets for each one of those. So going on to round 6, we're going to increase here. So move that stitch marker up. We're going to put 2 single crochets in this first stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1. And then repeat that sequence all the way around. So put 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, 2 single crochets in the next, and 1 single crochet in the next. So at the end of round 6 here, we will have 18 single crochet. So I'll just meet you up for round 7. Alright, just finished round 6 here. Going on to round 7 and 8, we are just putting 1 single crochet in each stitch around, so no increases on these 2 rounds. Rounds 7 and 8 are just 1 single crochet in each stitch, just like this. And again, I'm working in those back loops, so I'm going to do that for rounds 7 and 8, and I'll meet you up for another increase on round 9. Alright, I just did rounds 7 and 8 here, so now going on to round 9, we're going to increase again. We are going to put 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So go into this next stitch here and just put 1 single crochet, and then go into the stitch after that and just put 1 single crochet, and then repeat that all the way around. So 2 single crochets in this next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then just repeat. So at the end of round 9, we will have 24 single crochets. So I'll meet you up then. We'll go on to round 10. Alright, just finished round 9. I have 24 single crochets, so this is what my piece looks like. Now, the rest of these increases are going to be 1 stitch every round. So I'm going to move my stitch marker up. For round 10, we are only, for round 10 and the rest of our rounds here, until we get to 42 stitches, we are going to put 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the rest of the stitches on this round. Okay, that's the only increase we're doing is just the first stitch, and we're putting 2 single crochets in the very first stitch and then 1 single crochet in the rest of the stitches, and that's going to be for, this is round 10, so at the end of round 10 we'll have 25 single crochets, and then for the rest of the rounds until we get to 42 stitches around, we are going to be doing that repeat. And I'll show you, I'm almost done with this round here, round 10. We'll go on to round 11 right away. I'm just putting 1 single crochet in the rest of these stitches, but I did put 2 single crochets in that first stitch. So now coming back around here, if you want to count, you can count to 25 stitches. You will have 25 stitches on round 10. Going on to round 11, move that stitch marker up. Now this is our repeat, so we're putting 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the rest of the stitches around. So then on round 11 we'll have 26 stitches all the way around. So just repeat that then for, this is now round 11. I'm going to do that until I get to round 27. Once I finish round 27, I will have 42 stitches in total. And if you need to follow along with the written pattern to get to the 42 stitches on how to do this repeat, just put 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 1 single crochet in the rest of the stitches around for each round until you get to 42 stitches. That should be row 27. Once I finish row 27, I will meet you up. This is going to be a little while to do this, so once I finish round 27, I'll meet you up and we'll go on to the next step. Alright, I just finished round 27, so this is what your piece should look like. I have my stitch marker in there marking each round, but it looks more like a carrot now, and if you want to, you can take your little bunny and put him inside to make sure that he fits. Aw, it looks so cute. So he fits. So I just want to do a few more rounds to just even out my rounds. If you want to increase more, just continue with the established pattern of increasing just the first stitch and then putting 1 stitch in the rest of the stitches on the round to increase to whatever stitch amount you want, which I just increased to 42 stitches, and this is what I came up with. So now, going on to the next step, the last 3 rounds, 28, 29, and 30, are only 1 stitch in each stitch around, so no increasing anymore. We're doing 42 stitches in total, and I have 42 stitches on each round, so, or on each round now, going to round 28, 29, and 30. Okay, so I'm going to just do that for 28, 29, and 30, and then once I finish round 30, I'll show you how to fasten off this part, and then we can grab our green yarn and make the leaves. Alright, so I just did rounds 28, 29, and 30 here, just putting one single crochet in each stitch around for a total of 42 single crochets on each of those rounds. So now I'm going to go under both of these loops here. We've been working in the back loop there, but I'm going to go under both loops of this next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and pull through to slip stitch, and then I'm going to fasten this off. So chain one, and then you can cut your yarn short here and pull that through and pull it tight. We're also going to remove the stitch marker there and then turn this, you can kind of see where your increases are here. You can kind of see a small line there where your increases are. We're going to turn that over to the back. So this is the front of your carrot cocoon here. So now you can, if you want to, continue, just measure it around your little bunny. Make sure your little bunny fits in there. How adorable. Oh my goodness, that's so cute. Okay, so now we just want to make the backing, the little green leaves of the carrot, and then we'll be finished. So grabs that green yarn. We're going to do one round of green on this carrot part here. So we are going to attach our yarn. I'm going to go in the back loop here of this stitch where we slip stitched into. Okay, I'm going to work over this straggler so I don't have to sew it in later, and I'm just going to hook on this green yarn here. Grab this here. Oopsie, there we go. So hook that on, pull that through, and then chain up one, just like that. And we're going to single crochet into that same stitch, and we're going to single crochet in the back loop of every stitch around for, again, a total of 42 stitches. Okay, I'm single crocheting. And you can see I'm working over the top of both of these stragglers so that I don't have to sew them in. So I'm just single crocheting all the way around with this green. When I come back around, I'll meet you up, I'll show you how to fasten off, and then we'll make those. The separate piece that we're going to make is the leaf part, and we'll sew that on later. Alright, finished my last stitch here, so now we're going to go into the first single crochet right in here, and then yarn over, pull through, and pull through to finish that off, and then chain one, cut your yarn, pull that through, and pull it tight, and if you want to right away just sew in that end. Okay, so we just did that one round of green around there, and I'm just going to take my yarn my needle, and then sew in this end so I don't have to do it later. Okay. And then stretch that out, cut any extra, be careful with your scissors, and there we have it. Okay, so now make sure that that fasten off, that knot that we just created over here is in the back center of this carrot, and that is the back side. You can see your increases there. Okay. Alright, so now we are going to actually set this cocoon part aside, and we're going to make the back leaves now. So set this aside, set your bunny aside, set your orange yarn aside, grab your green yarn, make a slip knot. Okay, you know how to make a slip knot by now. We've done so many in this project already. Insert your hook. And for the leaf part here, we're going to chain 14. So yarn over and pull through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And now in the fourth chain from the hook, we are going to double crochet. So yarn over, and what I like to do, you can see our chain this way. I'm going to actually turn my chain toward me, and you can see these back ridges here. I'm going to work in those back ridges. So in the fourth chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn this toward me, yarn over, go into that chain, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That's a double crochet. So again, yarn over, we're going to double crochet into each chain. So yarn over, go into this next chain, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, and we're just double crocheting in each chain across here. Now this first stitch right here is going to count as a stitch. It looks like a chain up 3 actually. 1, 2, 3. That is going to count as a stitch in this project here. So I'm going to just double crochet into each chain, and then I'll meet you up for the next row. Alright, so I just finished this row 1. You should have 12 stitches, which includes this stitch over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So now going on to row 2 here, we're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. Turn the work around here. And this chain up 3 is going to count as a stitch, so we do not have to work anything in this here. Okay, so don't work anything in there. We're going to double crochet into, let's see here, double crochet across here. So yarn over, do not go in this stitch. Oh, and we're going to work in the back loops. Okay, so you can see here the stitch, the loop that's away from you, furthest away from you, we're going to go into there. Yarn over and pull through. Then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, go into this next stitch in the back loop only, and make a double crochet. So we're double crocheting across. So when I get to the very last stitch though, I'll show you what we have to do, because we're actually going to work around this piece and work on the foundation row, which I know it sounds confusing at this second, but it will make sense in a minute. So I'll double crochet across here, and then I'll meet you up when I'm on my last stitch. Alright, so at this point, if you want to count, I have 11 stitches, which includes this chain up 3 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And like I said, this is going to count as a stitch, but what we're actually going to do right now is double crochet in the top of this chain, so the back loop right here. Okay, I'm going to double crochet in there. Actually going to put 2 double crochets. So yarn over again and go back in for a second one. Okay, and you can see I'm turning this around now. You can see this next chain right here. We're going to work 2 double crochets in there as well. So yarn over, go into this chain right here, just in that back loop, okay, or one of the loops that are on there. Okay, put 2 double crochets in there. And then the next chain, you can see again, I'm turning this around here, and this chain right here, we're going to work 2 double crochets in there. 1 and 2. Now the rest of the stitches on this row are across the bottom here. We're just going to work 1 double crochet in each of those in the back loop only. So yarn over, go in the back loop of this next stitch right there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then just hop to the next and make a double crochet. And we're just double crocheting now once in the rest of the stitches on this row. So if that got confusing, you can rewind this, or you can follow the written pattern. But I'm just going to double crochet across the rest of these stitches, and oh, you know what, I only have 4 left, so you can continue watching here. I'm going to go on to row 3 next. Just go a little faster. There we go. So at the end of row 2, we'll have 28 double crochets. So if you want to, you can count back here, see how many stitches we have. So row 1 had 12 stitches. Row 2 has 28 stitches. Going on to row 3 now, we're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. Turn that work around. And now we are going to double crochet in the next 10 stitches. But again, this chain up 3 counts as a stitch, so don't work into this stitch here. We're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch. And again, back loops only. So go into this back loop of this next stitch and work a double crochet in the next 10 stitches. So that was 1. Next stitch is 2. Here's 3 and 4. Oopsie. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, oopsie, come on, 9, and 10. Alright, now we're going to put 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So yarn over, go into the next stitch. Remember, back loops only. So 1 and 2. And then in the stitch after that, we're only going to put 1 double crochet. And then we're going to repeat that again. So 2 double crochets in the next stitch, in the back loop, and then 1 double crochet in the next stitch. And then we're going to repeat that one more time. So 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the next. Okay, and now we're going to double crochet in the last 11 stitches. So there should be 11 stitches left. So just double crochet in those, and then we'll go on to the next row. Okay, for your last stitch, don't forget that this chain of 3 is a stitch, so we are going to double crochet in there before we go on to row 4 here. So at the end of round 3, or row 3 here, you should have, let's see here, oh, I actually didn't count those stitches. So we'll go on to the next round, and I'll count my stitches for the next round here. So chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, turn the work around, okay? And now we are going to double crochet in the first 11 stitches. So this chain of 3 counts as a stitch, so don't work in this stitch here. We're going to double crochet into this next stitch right here, and that's our first one. So 1, next stitch 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that was 8, 9, 10, and 11. And now we're going to increase again. We're going to put 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Remember, back loops only, 1 and 2, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 1. Okay, and then we're going to repeat that again. So 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1, oopsie, and 2, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, 1 and 1, and then again one more time we're going to repeat that. So put 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, and then, oh my goodness, my hook is just, okay. Then we are going to double crochet one stitch in the rest of the stitches on this row, which should be 10 stitches. So at the end of row 4, okay, this is row 4 now, you should have 34 double crochets. So I'm going to do that. I'm almost done here. I'm just going to go on to, or I'll meet you up for row 5. Just remember, at the end of row 4 there is that last stitch there, so we're still going to work in that one. And then going on to row 5, we are changing it up. We're increasing every stitch. So at the end of row 4 you should have 34 stitches. So going on to row 5, we're going to chain up 3 here. Let me get this, there we go, 1, 2, and 3, and that again is going to count as a stitch. Turning the work around, we are going to work in this first stitch again now. So throughout these 4 rows here, we haven't been working in this first stitch because this chain of 3 is counted as a stitch. But since we're increasing every stitch this row, we are going to be putting a stitch in there. So a double crochet in there, back loop only, go in and make your stitch. And we're putting 2 double crochets in each stitch on this row. Okay, so 2 double crochets in the back loop of every stitch now. And that will bring us to 68 double crochets on row 5. And you'll start to see the wavy pattern here because of the increase. It will cinch all of these together. You can already see it's already starting to wave here. So we're going to do that all the way across on this row, and then I'll meet you up for row 6. Alright, just got my last stitch done here. So we have 68 stitches in total for row 5. So you can see the waviness is already showing on here. So now going on to our last row of this, we're going to chain up 3. Oopsie. 1, 2, 3. Turn this work around. And we're going to repeat row 5 by putting 2 double crochets into each stitch. Don't forget this first one gets 1 because that chain up 3 counts as a stitch. And then just in the rest of the stitches, put 2 double crochets into each stitch. So for row 6, actually you'll have 136 double crochets on this row. And then I'll meet you up when we fasten off, and we'll go on to the next step. Alright, so now once we put 2 double crochets into each stitch in the back loop there, this is what it should look like. It's very wavy now. You can see the very lettuce leaf type of look for the carrot. So now we're going to fasten this off with a long tail for sewing. So chain 1, cut your yarn, like I said, long for sewing, and then just continue to pull that all the way through. Okay, and then pull that tight. And now what I actually need you to do is make 1 more of these exactly like this. So we have 2 exactly like this. I made one off camera here, so I have 2 already done. So this is what they should look like. They are exactly the same. So if you need to rewind this, make another one. Once you have them both made, we are going to line them up. We're going to actually put, you can see here, round 1 here, you can see the ridge on this side. And round 3 as well, you can see the ridge on this side, but on the other side you can't see that ridge. So we want the ridge to be for rows 1 and 3 on the outside, and so we're going to put both wrong sides together like this. Okay, so they're facing each other. Okay, and then we're going to sandwich these together and sew them together. So you can shove the little stragglers on the inside here because they'll be hidden. And then grab your long strands. Now we have 2 long strands, one for sewing the 2 pieces together and one for sewing this onto the carrot cocoon part. So what we're going to do is actually sew these 2 together just after round 4. Okay, so this part here is going to be wavy like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is grab my yarn needle, take this long strand, and yarn my needle with it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is sew this together along this bottom here just till I get to row 4. So we're going to go in and out along this edge here, and you can whip stitch or you can just go in and out back and forth. I'm doing a little whip stitching here. So just going through this side, up through this side, and then pull. And just keep going through the same side. So go up through this side and pull. Okay, so once you get to row 4 here, we're going to go along the edge here. So we need to line this up with our both pieces. Okay, and now we're going to go in through both, and I'm going to actually go in and out. Okay, and then just in and out. But I'm not going to sew the bottom part, this flat side right here. I'm not going to sew that closed yet. So I'm just going to go all the way around this, around here. Okay, all the way until I get to this part, then is when I'll meet you up. But just go in and out just like this. So you can see here, going through, line up the stitches, going through to this side, then go through these stitches here. And I know it is kind of difficult to show you on camera, but just sew along the edge of row 4. And then once I get to the other side, I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so I just came back around here. So now what I'm going to do is hold this for a second. I'm going to, you can see if you put your hand in here that there should be no holes along this middle here between these ruffles. Okay, so make sure you check in between that there are no big holes, because we're going to put a little tiny bit of stuffing in there. So grab some stuffing and kind of flatten it out just a little bit. Okay, and then put it inside, and with these two stragglers here we can also put those inside as well. Okay, and then just put this flat inside. You don't have to stuff it too much, just a little tiny bit. It's gonna be kind of a pillow for your little bunny. Okay, and then if you want to, you can sew that closed with the rest of this little yarn here that I already have yarned on my needle, and you can just do a quick job. I'm just going to do a quick job here on the camera so you can see. I'm just going to do a little whip stitch and shove that inside. Make sure that's all hidden. Okay, and then we're just going to fasten this part off, and then once we can actually grab our carrot cocoon. I'm just doing this super fast for the camera here. Alright, so let's fasten this off here. So let's go through a couple stitches, hold your finger in that loop, and then come back around through that loop, and then pull tight. Okay, we can even cut our yarn short there and take our yarn needle and then put this inside where we put our stuffing. Okay, stretch it out, cut any extra, be careful with your scissors. Alright, now we have this long strand from our other piece, and this is still kind of open there. So what I want to do is grab the carrot part here. We're going to sew this to the carrot. Okay, and how we're going to do that, we're going to take our yarn needle and this straggler that we cut from the leaves here, yarn our needle with that, start wherever on any stitch here on the carrot, and then go through there and whip stitch this to here. And you can see I'm going to go along this edge right here, so that that closes on there as well. Oops. Okay. And I'm going to flip this over so I can see each stitch. Okay, and we're just going to go along the edge. Okay, so I'm going to go in this stitch and then through this leaf part. Okay, and I'm going to go through each stitch, and it should cover a little more than half of this carrot cocoon like rim top. So that should be good for the bunny to lay its head then on this leaf. Okay, so I'm just going to do this all the way across. I hope you can see this, but I'm just going to go through and through and just kind of whip stitch it. So I'm going to do that all the way across this, and then I will meet you up when I'm about to fasten this part off. Alright, so to fasten this part off, I just sewed across here. We are going to go through a couple stitches here, hold this loop on our finger, and then come back through, and then remove our finger and pull that tight. Okay, and then we can weave in this end here, and weave in all the rest of your ends. If you have any loose ends on this piece, you can just weave them into your leaves here, and then just cut any extra, stretch it out, and there's your cute little cocoon, your carrot cocoon, and then you can grab your bunny rabbit and stick him right in there. How cute is this? Oh my goodness, isn't that adorable? Awesome. So there it is. Thank you so much for watching and learning how to make this cute little bunny amigurumi in a carrot cocoon. I had so much fun making this, and you can give this to anybody for a holiday or just any baby or child who would like to play with this. Is so adorable. I love it. So thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure if you are interested in the bunny, make sure to check out my little bunny lovey for a baby as well. It's a mini square bunny lovey. Check that out on my website, YARNutopia.com. Make sure to subscribe to my channel here on YouTube, and if you have any questions about this project, make sure to check out the blog and share your photos. #YARNutopia. Alright everyone, have a great rest of your day. Happy hooking!